Okay, we are live today recapping the Week 11 Put It On My Wood hockey, fantasy hockey podcast show. Once again, we have Lafitte's scoring machine on again.
Thank you for having me, Commissioner. Glad to be on the show. Third time in 7 weeks. Very proud.
That's right. For the first time this season, scoring machine. If you look at the standings in the Patrick Division, the scoring machine is in first place. What are your thoughts about that?
The week did not start off well, I'll tell you that much. And it looked a little slow. And I'm glad I prevailed this week, especially against my Patrick Division foe, who I seem to always go against. And it was a huge win. Won by 35 points, so I couldn't be happier at the results of this week. Did a lot of research and made a huge move that resulted in a lot of points this week. So very happy I've saved all my moves to use them now, and very excited about the next 2 weeks and the playoffs.
All right, scoring machine on the podcast. He has a reserved parking spot. The waiting room is filled with his paraphernalia. He actually brought in a picture frame, a large one. We had to get approval from corporate management to put a Marty Brodeur picture frame in the waiting room.
Oh, that's right. And the picture frame's going up. Corporate did approve it. I got the email.
All right, 3 times in the last 7 weeks, you scored the most points for the week. What is your feeling of the resurgence of your team as a whole this season? That's a big achievement.
Absolutely. Patrick Kane has been a huge part of my success this year, especially in the past couple of weeks.
16 points this week. 16 points from Kane.
Absolutely. Also, again, got to credit my defenseman, Roman Josi. Second most points for the week, 11 points. Another huge week for him. He seems to be one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. And the one move I was speaking of before was for Philip Forsberg, who has been a 30-goal scorer. It looks like, or both 30 goals the past 3 years. And what tipped me off about him, he always starts off slow in the beginning of the year and ends up picking it up at the end. And the guy recently on the 21st and the 23rd had 2 hat tricks in a row.
Scoring machine, I wanted to ask you a little bit more in depth about that Flip Forsberg move. I just saw a clip on NHL Network. You are exactly correct. October, November, he starts off slow, then picks it up in December, and then they say in January and February, this guy has had like 25 goals in his last 27 or 28 February games. This guy just picks it up as the season goes along. Great move.
Absolutely. He's had a monster week. That's 8 goals in 4 games, 8 goals and 3 assists. I mean, you cannot ask for much more from a player right there. And like I said, it seems to me the past couple of years, the guy has always, started to pick up his production towards the end of the season, end of the regular season. So I felt Van Riemsdyk was not getting it done as much offensively as I needed him to. Pulled the trigger on the move, and it did a lot of good for me. And I was got a solid 8 points right there with 2 power play goals that, gave me an advantage over Kiss My Asshole. So I'm very excited that move worked out. And I do have some other moves planned, but this year is all about patience. I want to pull the trigger right away, and you need to save your moves. So this way, once we get closer to the playoffs, you got to make, some moves. You have some left, and you're not like out there with nothing.
That is true. Scoring machine being very strategic. All right, scoring machine 5 times in the last 7 weeks. Now that is definitely a puck trend. Pamela from the Puck Tracker staff told me this, that you've had the most cumulative points by your defenseman, cumulative 5 times in the last 7 weeks. That is just unbelievable production.
Absolutely. We had a conversation about D-men, a couple of years ago where I told you these guys are touching the puck now more than anyone else on the power play. So having a good offensive defenseman is huge in our league. And as you can see, the past 5 out of 7 weeks, like you said, I've had the most points by defenseman, and the past 3 out of 7, I've had the most points in the league for the week. So, obviously things are working, and I'm very excited about where the season's going to go, and, can only look up.
All right, just adding on to that, going into this week, week 12, you rank number 2 in live scoring from your defenseman with 116 points. Number 2 overall in the league.
Yeah, like I said, man, you got to keep, and I'm not done, working on my defenseman, man. It's always a work in progress. That's why I save these moves for future reference, because, as you know, and every other GM knows, guys tend to go cold, and, this is not the time of year you want to hold on to guys that are going cold. So that's why it's imperative that you show a little patience in your players, and if you can, not pull the trigger on these moves at a haste, because you may end up with no moves left and a team that's full of cold players. So I'm glad I've held on to some of these roster moves, and I look forward to doing some more research and seeing what I can do next to improve this team and taking to the championship that I've been craving since the 1990s.
That is true. Just now adding on to that, you've been on the doorstep of winning the Patrick Division 3 times. You finished second in 2012, and the last 2 years you finished second to the Ice Hole and Crease Monkeys. Right now you're in first. There's 2 games left. What do you have to do to get over the hump to get that first elusive Patrick Division title?
Honestly, I got to keep my eyes on what's going on with not only my players, but the players that are out there. Like I said, this is close to the end of the season, so you're going to see a lot of moves happening. And just keep at it, man. You got to keep. You can never do it. You can never have enough knowledge. So you can never do enough research. And I'm very confident in my players right now. And like I said, this is one of the most important times of the year when you can see the true players come into that form towards the end of the year. You see Roman Josi, Patrick Kane, Forsberg, the list goes on. All these other teams. You got Crosby, who's always been a great player, but he's starting to light it up now more than ever. And there's just a lot of players that start ramping it up towards the end of the year because the playoffs are coming, and that is the most exciting part of the year. So keep at it, man. You got to keep doing your homework.
That is true. Scoring Machine doing his homework, doing the research, what it takes to make the playoffs, to make your team better in the course of the season with the ups and downs. All right, we have a question from a local person. Actually, it's not a person. It's Teddy. Teddy has a question. He wants to know if you would ever rename the playoffs the Put It On My Wood Puppy Playoffs.
Well, that's something up to the commissioner. That's not up to me, but sounds like a great idea to me. Anything that Teddy comes up with is an excellent idea. So, gotta love the mascot for the commissioner.
All right, Teddy actually is making a cameo appearance on this podcast. He was just on the camera, so you'll see him live later on. All right, Scoring Machine, we want to thank you again for being on the podcast, a consistent member of the show. I'm glad that you found the accommodations in the waiting room very nice with the drinks and your Gatorade and the hors d'oeuvres. We wish you the best of luck in the next 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show, and I look forward to on the show again in the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much.